Let's dig in. Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and it is list season 2019. It is still happening. I'm hanging in there. I'm still alive. Hopefully you are too. Today we have a special video that hits very close to home to me. Actually, it literally hits my home because I'm from Canada. Didn't you know I live in one of those igloos playing hockey, drinking some maple syrup, bud? Anyways, today we are counting down my top 10 Canadian albums of 2019. This year in music was great for the Canadians. Rush put out 10 albums, The Tragically Hip came out of retirement, and Nickelback, they disappeared. They're finally out of our hair. If only I were telling the truth, because none of those things happened this year. What did happen though was that we had a group of staple acts over the past 10 to 15 years or so add to their catalogs, one hanging their hats with their final release before retirement. We also had a few new faces and a couple up-and-coming acts that were and still are primed for a major international breakthrough. Above all, we had fun this year. We had fun. Okay, so first up I want to get through some honorable mentions. These were not good enough to crack the top 10, but still deserve some praise. And first up we have Bryan Adams's Shine a Light. Although he is no longer in his prime for sales or radio airplay anymore, Bryan has kept up nicely with his aging fan base and still makes a strong case for younger listeners to check him out on his fun and sometimes introspective record, Shine a Light. Up next with another honorable mention, we have the pop rock outfit from BC. This is Mariana's Trench and their latest full-length record, Phantoms. This album is theatrical and it comes full circle between the thrilling opener and climactic closing track. I never really gave enough credit to the performances on this album when I initially reviewed it, but the vocals from Josh Ramsey are absolutely stunning and operatic. And I also love the unique choice of putting a theremin on a couple of these songs. It kind of reminds me when the Beach Boys did that. The last shout out I want to give for a decent Canadian record in 2019 goes to City and Colour's A Pill for Loneliness. This spacey rock album has some elements of noise rock and insightful lyrics as usual from the frontman Dallas Green. Now on to the real list, the top 10, which you may notice a few of these repeat in my top 50 albums of the year video. If you're on this list, you're definitely still eligible for the best albums of the year. At number 10 for the top 10 Canadian albums though, we have the singer-songwriter from Whitby, Ontario, Tom Meikle, who is a part of Mappe. His record this year was entitled The Isle of Ailynn. Encapsulating atmospheres and expansive arrangements of instruments are all across the major families of woodwinds, brass, and string on this. And this album has a gripping fictional world created with its story. At number 9, we have the Canadian rock group Big Wreck with their latest full length, But for the Sun. This is a bounce back album for Big Wreck. I didn't enjoy their previous album. This one is much better in the production department, as well as the hooks. The hooks are a lot catchier, and I noticed some early 3 Days Grace influence on there too, which I do appreciate. Moving on from there, number 8 goes to the folksy, rootsy pop rock band Strumbellas and their record Rattlesnake. It might not be as compelling or as well received as their international hit of Hope, but I still believe Rattlesnake is another great group of tracks, including I'll Wait, Salvation, All My Life, and Running Scared. I'm proud to announce the 7th best Canadian album to the Montreal indie rock band Half Moon Run and their most recent efforts on A Blemish in the Great Light. This is the first record in their discography that I feel like is an album kind of album, and what I mean by that is that it's consistently focused on one sound. Each song feels connected to the last, and they capture my attention the entire way through. The highlight songs on here include Then Again, Favorite Boy, and Jello on My Mind. Also, we can't forget that some of the prettiest vocals you'll hear all year on this record too. Next up, the Canadian pop sensation Rae Jepsen returned this year with another heavy helping of 80s synth pop on her record Dedicated. As always, glossy production and catchy melodies are plastered all over Carly's work, and this time round I like that she paid attention to the ordering of tracks. There seems to be a lot more of conscious or deliberate thought and action being taken with that, and I really like it. Halfway home at number 5, we have the Sum 41 record Order and Decline, a pop-punk group that actually explores metalcore on this album more than any other genre. If you haven't been able to get into their heavy rock music before, this is an excellent entry point as it still sounds melodic, it still has dynamics, and we have an interesting political narrative that isn't too in your face. Now, it is unavoidable, sure, but there's enough material to keep things engaging and badass. Moving on from there, my number 4 favorite Canadian album goes to Hollerado, and it's their final record. Oh my god, they're no longer together. I'm speaking of Retaliation Vacation. What a cool title for a record too. And yeah, with this one, I admire how much fun it sounded like they had making this. Track after track is electrifying, and they do of course address their retirement with a celebration in the way that Hollerado would do best. The song One Last Time is what approaches that kind of topic indirectly or subtly, being about dancing with a lover and learning the lesson of losing love. But we kind of know that this is their swan song, and it is a good one. My number 3 pick for Canadian albums of the year goes to Said the Whale and their album Cascadia, a jam-packed track list of lovely and endearing songs that resonates with me so much. I gave this a 9 out of 10, a fantastic album that may just be their best yet. At number 2, and really these top 3 picks here I would say are all incredible and are must listens, but at number 2 we have the Toronto pop punk band Pup with their latest LP, Morbid Stuff. This record is so angsty that it will relieve all the tension you could possibly have pent up, whether it's frustration, anger, confusion, or even if you're happy, this thing will make you happier. It is something special, however, it is not special enough to be number 1. It was very close, it was a tough decision, and honestly, I could have given a tie, but I was like, nah, that would be cheating. There has to be a number 1, like, come on. It's A War on Everything by the Glorious Sons, and get used to hearing that name. This group has been waiting and waiting and waiting for their big moments, and they definitely had it with their 2017 record, but I think their 2019 record takes things to another level, hopefully with international acclaim. Probably not, which is a big disappointment, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that it is known on this channel at least that A War on Everything is a damn fine album. A War on Everything is kind of hard for me to put my finger on the pulse to understand its greatness, and I think that's a testament to how confusing 2019 was, at least for me personally. I actually had a tough time figuring out my priorities when it came to being a young adult, and every time I put this album on to listen to, it was as if those anxieties and insecurities were rationalized, but also challenged. Every song on this album has a purpose, and it is complete. It's a complete album that you can tell it has a clear progression between its first and final songs, but it also throws in many lyrical twists and turns along its course, just like in the same way life does. The musicality and level of artistry that goes into this record, it bleeds with passion, love, and sincerity. It is commendable beyond what I can say with words because it is an emotional ride. A War on Everything pulls you up, it pulls you down, it can motivate you, it may even devastate you, and it is my favorite Canadian album of 2019. And there you have it. Those are 10 albums I really enjoyed from Canadian artists this year. Make sure you sound off down below in the comments. Let me know what kind of Canadian music you enjoyed. While you're at it, leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town. Thanks for watching. We'll have more List Week videos coming up. Have a rockin' day.